So I'm going to talk a little bit about journey. This purple stole I'm wearing here today is woven by indigenous people of the Philippines, and I brought it back when I went on a pilgrimage. I was a traveler a few years ago back to Japan, where God had called me when I said yes to God, and it was sort of like my wilderness of 40 days in Japan, except it was a year. And so many years later, after I was ordained, when I made a trip back, it was a pilgrimage back to Japan and to the Philippines. So I have this on. And if you think about this observance of Lent and the metaphor of a journey, and you think about your own life, the different chapters in your life, from the first breath we take to the last, God is with us. But we learn and grow through these journeys and pilgrimage. I can tell you, I had a journey to the World Council of Churches when I was in seminary with like 40 other seminarians. And I would call that journey, "Are we there yet?" It was a long journey. Sometimes our flights are really long with connecting flights because often we're taking cheaper flights. And I asked myself, oh God, I don't know if the 40 of us here represent any shape or form Christians. Because you get to see how people, your fellow travelers, how we behave. You get very intimate and close when you're sitting next to each other on the seats for 40 hours, or you're tired, or you're hungry, or you're so out of your comfort zone because you don't speak the language, or the food. You know, when I was in Japan, remember Pastor Edwards, I didn't mean to, it just came to my pastor. I said, I've never eaten so much rice. Whereas for me, rice is what I'm used to. So it was like a real treat to have it at every meal, even though I'm not supposed to have it either for health reasons. So you just learn a lot about yourself, and you learn a lot about other people, but most importantly, you learn about who you are in relationship with somebody and with God. It's about trust. It's about forming, some people can draw out a deeper generosity in you. Some people are triggers for us, right? So that's why we try to practice self-awareness and mindfulness, so that when something is triggered in us by somebody, we can stop and pause and ask us, it's not about us, but what is this about, right? So this metaphor of being travelers, of being on pilgrimages, especially in this season of Lent, of 40 days of journeys. And those 40 days have significance in our Christian tradition. Now, I'm preaching on the Psalm today, Psalm 121. And this psalm is one of the psalms between 120 and 134 that is usually described as songs of ascent. So in its context, this psalm there's different interpretations of it. Some people say that it was a song that was used before people went into battle. I mean, in the Old Testament times, there was a lot of going into battle, and some used it, they said, as you ascend into a holy place, the sanctuary, the dwelling of God. So they like a processional song, for example. So imagine reading this song, praying this song as you come to church on Sundays in our modern context, for example. Some people saw it as the song of going to Jerusalem. Back in the day, people didn't go to the Jerusalem temple every Sabbath, or in the Jewish tradition. Some people only made it there once a year. It really was a pilgrimage to Jerusalem. We know Mary and Joseph made it when Jesus was a child. We know they were on it for many days. We know you can get lost on it because they noticed Jesus wasn't around. You're making the pilgrimage as a community. And even to this day, people make pilgrimages to the Holy Land. A lot of Christians hope that once in their lifetime, they can go look at the Jordan River where Jesus was baptized. Go visit Bethlehem. So there's this long pilgrimages, but you can say you're a fellow traveler in church from Sunday to Sunday. How we gather here, we ascend, come into Jerusalem if you want to say, but what is our life like in between the Sunday to Sunday? This psalm, you can also think of it as someone saying, I leave for Jerusalem. It's a psalm of departure. So I think it's really good at the beginning of Lent for us to look at maybe some of the wisdom we can gain from this song. This song, it begins with God. Our departure, our journey, every chapter, from our morning breath to our dying breath, begins with God. It says, I lift up my eyes to the hills. Who amongst us have not been on that? In whatever chapter of your life, whatever travel, you will hit a point where all this cultural and national self-sufficiency and independence breaks apart. And all of us have been that point. From I lift up my eyes to the hills. From where does my help come? My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. It is established at the very beginning. Our help comes from God. He will not let your foot move or keep you. He will not let your feet be moved. There's a declaration here, first of all. It reminds us who God is. God is the creator of heaven and earth. God is one who loves the world. It establishes us that God is the foundation. God is not just guiding our step. God is the very foundation upon which we walk, if you want to say. So it's not just about the nature of God and who God is as the foundation, but the actions of God and each step that we take on this journey. It goes on to talk about God is not only under our foot, but over our heads. I'm not going to read it in order, but God is our the sun shall not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. It always struck me, I understand about the sun. If you're traveling in the desert in the heat of day, you got to keep yourself protected from the sun. But I didn't understand this, nor the moon by night. And I didn't realize the word epileptic comes from the Greek word for moon. The word for lunatic comes from the English and Latin root for moon. And if you really think about, people who are either sleepwalking or people who have so much anxiety and fear and they can't sleep, who's looking at the moon at night, right? I mean, the only time I'm looking at the moon is when I get the notices that it's going to be, we have a full moon coming, actually. So when you're looking at that, but most of us are having, if you're resting and getting a sleep at night, who's looking at the moon? The people who's got to travel by night. Maybe they have to escape from one country to another. So this, nor the moon by night. God is over our heads. God keeps us. And the word for keep here in Hebrew is, I thought I had it memorized, but shamar. It says 6 times in the psalm here. He who keeps you will not sleep. God won't sleep on the job. The Lord is your keeper. The Lord will keep you from all evil, will keep your life. The Lord will keep you going out and coming in from all the portals, all the transitions, all the changes from one chapter to another. God will keep you. And the word keep, said 6 times in this psalm, is different from when you say, I have a dog. And I keep my dog. The word keep here is you will care for, you will guide, you will protect, you will give of yourself, you will feel the pain of the one that you keep. When the one you keep suffers, you suffer with the one that you keep. God, another word for keep in the King James Version is preserve. God will preserve us. God neither sleeps, night and day. God preserves us in our goings and our comings. So this psalm really, for me, is a message of faith. Faith and trust in God, in whom we begin this journey and to whom we begin. And I love in the Reformed Lutheran tradition, they have this understanding. If our entire life is a journey of sanctification, a journey of becoming in the image of Christ, a journey of being perfected in God's love, they have this tradition that one day beyond your death, you will come into your full form in the image of Christ. So this message for me is really about faith over fear. Faith over fear. So I think about where we are today in our context. We've had this tornado in Tennessee. Lots of Methodist churches, you see, we've been seeing these horrible images. And just as a reminder, you can give to Encore. That goes into places of disaster. Coronavirus. And you see fear. And you see some people panicking. Ben and Elizabeth went to Costco to pick up our regular vegetables and supplies for the week, and toilet paper. I mean, the whole warehouse of toilet paper gone, and we're told that people stand in line every morning as a new toilet paper comes in to stock up on the toilet paper. Now, if I had to stock up on something, I think toilet paper would be the last thing, because I have plenty of threadbare flannel sheets for my bed and old socks that come on, this is irrational. It's sort of like that reptilian brain. And it comes, I think, to me, fear is the sense of that you're alone and you're on survival mode. It's a really mind over heart, because your heart truly knows you love people and people love you. I sure hope if I run out of toilet paper, I can call any one of you. I might get bombarded with toilet paper on the doorsteps of my door. And it was a good opportunity for her to remind Samantha, God's got your back. People have your back. You have other people's back. Who amongst us won't lend somebody a toilet paper? You have to connect to the love of God. God who begins this journey with us, God who loves us, to whom we belong. So when we fall into this mentality of scarcity, not enough toilet paper for everybody, you got to remind yourself God loves us. God is of extravagant grace and generosity. You have to remind yourself this is not a zero-sum game where if you don't get your pie and there's a limited number of slices there, you have to remind yourself that this is enough for everybody. Enough for everybody. You have to behave and have your actions out of faith, not out of fear. And you have to act not of self-sufficiency and independence, but understanding of our interdependency. Everybody falls into this mode of, if I get sick, I'm going to die. The science of it is that 80% of us will be fine. It'll just be like when you have the flu, for example. This interdependency, if you focus on the interdependency, it's talking about our relationship to our grandparents, a relationship to our friends who's got cancer, relationship with people who's got asthma, a relationship with people who have other underlying medical conditions, and how can we strategically slow down this contagion so that, because it's highly contagious and we don't have the information about it, we're all going to get there. But in this time of, are we there yet? This anxiety of we want this done over. In the meantime, how do we reach out to people? How do we say the elderly are most vulnerable? How do we wash our hands so that the virus on surfaces doesn't impact the ones with asthma or our cancer survivors? So it really, that generosity not comes so much out of, especially if you're not on the risk zone, but you want to care for the most at risk and the vulnerable. That's where, if you come out of that, you're going to stay connected. If someone is sick, you're going to drop off toilet paper if they've run out. You can have food. If you don't want to go near the house, you call any of the stores these days and you can have things delivered to the house. Send them a card. Some of us are really good throughout the whole year sending cards. But take this opportunity to bless somebody. Send them a card. I haven't seen you at church. I heard maybe you're sick. It's a matter of when, I think, rather than if someone gets sick. How do we make them know they're not traveling or pilgrim alone? How do we should testify to them that they're created in Christ's image and God cares and God keeps them, and we as followers of Christ will do the same. This interdependence, we have this coronavirus in China and Italy and Korea, Washington, where I'm moving to, is the epicenter right now. New York, where I'm living, is fast having the numbers double, which is expected, people. Let's not panic. It's expected, because we just have not been able to identify it. But the strategy is to slow it down so that we don't overwhelm our nurses and doctors and everybody who's in the hospital. Pray for our nurses and doctors. We take them for granted all year long at this time. If you know a nurse, if you know a doctor, if you know a healthcare provider, send a card to the nursing homes that our members are at. The Putnam Nursing Home, say it's from the Methodist Songbirds. We know you're not taking visitors. We're keeping you in prayers. Print out a song you would sing, put it in there, give it to them, have them put it on their bulletin boards. I think we're coming to a point, at some point, we're going to reach out and say, what do you need? Would a tray of something be helpful to encourage the nurses and doctors who may be doing more shifts? It's a journey of connecting, of trusting. And on this journey, what do you take with you? One of the things, so on the Lenten journey, we often talk about giving up something or taking on something. Maybe we'll give up our personal agendas of always looking at what we want, to look at what the community wants. Maybe we take on prayer. For my Lenten journey this year, I took on prayer. I took on the Praying with Beads that Jeannie had shared the book with me, introduced me to. And I'm doing it on this journey so that I can be equipped and I can learn and grow so that I can use it with the community, maybe next Lenten journey. And in this Lenten journey with prayer beads, for this week's exercise, I had a prayer. And there's 33 beads on the Anglican Protestant bead. And it represents the 33 years of Jesus' life. And it's divided up into 7 sections. And I'll share a little bit more about it another time. So I'm praying 33 prayers, not one time, but throughout the entire day. So I took on putting in the names of people in my church, the students, my families, my friends, people on our prayer list. That's an awful lot of names. That 33 goes very quickly. And for myself, and the hardest part is praying for people that I don't particularly like. The people that trigger me. And when you put their name in that prayer, it doesn't change that person. It changes me, as I shared before. It changed me to be more compassionate. It changes me to know that we are interrelated. It changes me to know that we're fellow travelers and pilgrims on this journey. The prayer, and I'll share it here today, because I want you to know that each of you are prayed over. And I want you, during the season of Lent, in this pilgrimage, as you walk, in the day, in the night, I want you to be in this relationship with God, building your trust with God in relationship with your fellow travelers. And pray for yourself and to God. And know that God is with you. God who loves you will keep you. That's our foundation. And so the prayer went like this. And after all these many times, I think I've pretty memorized it. Not out of rote memory, but I really tried to think about the words I was saying as I prayed it. Sustain Dominique, O Lord, in your spirit. Give her an inquiring and discerning heart, the courage to will and to persevere, the spirit to know and love you, and the gift of joy and wonder in all you do. Amen. So I take that prayer as a gift from God. We receive gifts on the journey. We receive what we need. We're blessed so that we can bless and give on this journey. So I've said the prayer for each and every one of you and everybody on my membership list. And everybody and the most profound thing has been every person that I encountered via email or Facebook or came across my way during that day. Strangers. We have BEST going on. I was praying for the coordinators of BEST, of the people who come to BEST. of, I saw the windows going in there. I started praying for the people who's installing as I hear the banging going on. God invited me to really know if as a human being, this is my way of keeping, how much God, of the maker of heaven and earth, who loves all the people, loves the people in China, loves the Asian people. For some reason, people think coronavirus is targeting people of Asian descent. But that God loves everybody, and that we're in this together, and we're going to get through this insofar as we understand that God loves the whole world, and that we are interdependent, including nature and creation. In this season of Lent, know that God goes ahead of us. Jesus has already set his face to Jerusalem. God goes ahead of us. Jesus beckons us. And in this Lenten journey, may we pay attention. May we listen. May we be able to bless from the best